probably like $500. And
See, that's what I wanted to ask. Because like I want people to know that you don't need to start with a big account to just to trade.
No, and you
get some
shouldn't.
reps in. Welcome back, everybody. Be the Trader. Today is going to be a fun day, and I'm curious if you know this young man, and if you don't, you're going to find out a lot about him today. He's a newly profitable trader who is doing great things, and I know all of you have requested, like, let's talk to other different traders who are finding their niche, who are getting their things going, because you want to see where they're at currently in their head game. So today I have Ben for you, and Ben is where you want to be soon. And I think after listening to Ben's story, you're going to be very inspired and learn a lot of things. So Ben, thank you for being here, my brother.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been an honor.
Hey, honestly. Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
For sure.
But look, what got you into trading, man?
Well, I got into it, so I'm 22 now. And I first got into it when I was about a senior in high school, and it just was like pretty intriguing to me. Like I didn't really want to, like just go through school and just do like something, just something that maybe I wouldn't enjoy in the long run.
Yeah.
And I don't know really kind of like what gave me that idea, but just from like kind of a younger age, I guess just wanted to have fun, man, just do my own thing and, not have to go by, what we're like grown up and told to do, So that kind of got me interested in something. I was like, I want to do something. And so my dad is actually kind of the first person who like sparked my interest because he was, getting ready for retirement, and he was, telling me all about this stuff, and I thought like a passive income, even though trading is not technically a passive income, just something that is like that. I was like, I was like, okay, like this could be it. So I got into it, man, and I started doing some research. Man, I was about 17 at the time, and I looked on YouTube, dude. I looked up penny stocking, and then you could probably guess what the first thing I saw. Hey, Tim Sykes here, you know?
Yes, it's everywhere, bro.
Love the guy, bro.
Yeah,
love him. So
that's funny, though.
So that's like the first, and I was like, this is it. I was like, this is what I was looking for,
Yeah.
And so I saw him giving interviews, and like I was just so intrigued. Like it was like night and day, dude. Like as soon as I started seeing that stuff, I was just like, that was my world for like the next several months. And every day, dude, I'd be at school. I have like my E-Trade mobile with like my paper trading. I'd be like, man, I need to get into, I just didn't even know what I was doing, but it was so fun. It was just like a passion, dude. Like I wasn't trying to like get rich like right away or anything like that, because I knew I was a noob,
Yeah, absolutely.
I just didn't want to, and I had heard like all the horror stories that we still hear.
Yep.
And that's just kind of where I started. So, and then I signed up for Tim's, just like the alert/silver service that probably most people that know him have. And I just started watching so many video lessons and just trying to understand and wrap my brain around things.
Right.
And that was when I was, I would say like winter and fall of like 2017, 2018. So I'm kind of grateful that I started around then, because if anyone's been trading for the past few years, we obviously had the 2020 market. It was insane. But even before that, like a little similarity to that was in the 2017 market and like the early 2018, when the Bitcoin stocks and weed stocks and stuff were going off. Because like those were the first stocks I saw, and like I just saw them going from like 5 to 20, 40.
So that's when you came into the world.
That's when I came in, and I was like, oh my god, dude. I was like, all I gotta buy is one.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then, but I was like I understood that's like not how it worked.
Right.
And because like yes, I wanted to like find something that I could just make a passive income from, but I also knew that it's a game, and it takes a long time to master this game because it's so tough. So. Luckily, I had like a good mindset going in, because I,
Where'd that come from?
Dude, I think what it was, I just got lucky with finding the right people early on. Because before like Sykes and then I found out about Roland, Tim Grittani, all the guys, and I just got kind of lucky with finding them right away, because I didn't sign up for that options thing, or sign up for my Forex course,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I was only drawn to penny stocks, and I'm not sure exactly what it was. I think it was just luck, honestly. Just because a lot of people, they spin their wheels even trying to find what to do,
Yeah.
So I think I just got fortunate with finding the right guys early on.
And that helped you kind of prepare yourself that this is going to be hard and not like quick and easy?
Yeah, I understood that it was going to be difficult, and I understood that I'm not going to be sitting here and be doing this good for the rest of my life for like the next year. Like I understood that wasn't likely to happen.
Right.
So, and I just wanted to learn about it too. Like I wanted to be able to understand it, and I just wanted to be able to, have good trades and be able to look back and, felt like I did a good job.
Hey, we wouldn't be able to do these face-to-face interviews if it wasn't for our sponsor, Cobra Trading. So if you could just give them a few seconds of your time, we'd really appreciate it. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be the Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show. So how long did it take you when you found trading, and this is 2017, 18, 20, or 17 years old, right?
Yeah, almost 18.
How long did it take you to find your own kind of footing?
It did take me a while. So I did end up kind of spinning my wheels for, I would say, about 1.5 years, 2 years maybe.
Yes.
Because I was still in school, and at the time I was doing a lot of things, man. And I did go to college just for like a semester and a half.
Yeah.
Just because, just to try something, just to see. And, I was cool with that. So I was doing that. I was working part-time, like probably 30 to 50 hours a week. I also play a lot of guitar, so I was working on music stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And then I was also learning trading, which is like the biggest, kind of the biggest one. And I was like, man, one of these things gotta go. I was like, one of these things gotta go.
So you were like hedging your bets. You're like trying to.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, love guitar, love music, love trading, and I was like, gotta work, because that's how I was. I used all my own money. I just built it up from working, and so that's when I decided to just be done with school, and because I knew I could always come back to it. And I just understood that like at a young age I'd found what I really wanted to do. So I was like, we just gotta
work at it.
Just work at it and just believe that it's gonna work if you keep trying.
What'd you start with?
So like my first ever account was like probably like $500. And
that's what I wanted to ask, because I want people to know that you don't need to start with a big account just to trade.
No, and you
get some reps in.
Yeah, and you shouldn't do that, dude, because I'm telling you, like first likely like 2 to 3 years probably, like you're gonna lose money. And if you start out making money, you're gonna give it all away, and then probably then some. And then you start, it's just a really big mind challenge versus if you just simply start small, understand the price action, the charts, the patterns, feel a little bit of the emotions too, because you have to feel those. That's like 90% of what it is. And
then so you have to battle with the PDT rule.
Of course, yeah. Right. So then there's that, and that is like, a lot of people don't want to start small because of that.
Right.
And
Did you have multiple small accounts?
Yeah. So I had the 500, and I just would refund my account for like 500 or 1,000, and then just bleed it away pretty much, because I knew I didn't know what I was doing. It was like year 1, year 2, I understood that I didn't know what I was doing, and so I just kept it small, and I was super cheap too, so I didn't like losing money. Obviously I didn't like losing money, but
yeah, for sure. I mean, who does?
No, but so I just kept it small because I was like, odds are I'm gonna lose.
Right.
And so, dude, I just did that, and eventually I found a little bit more footing when I stopped going to school, and I just was like, okay, I got to focus on trading. And what it was I went to one of the Sykes conferences in 2018.
Okay.
And that, after that, it was so motivating, man.
Really?
After that, before that, I was just kind of like, oh, let's kind of figure it out. Maybe a side gig or for whatever.
Right.
And to be honest, dude, you just really have to do it. If you wanna be a good trader, like Jack, Dom, Huddy, Tim Grittani, you gotta do it. This has to be your life, and you have to understand that it's going to be difficult. So in 2019, I just started going to a bunch of different conferences, which is where you came from too, is from Roland. And that's the guy that got me kind of like you asked about my footing, and that's the guy that kind of, I think, really helped me understand what to focus on.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the most difficult thing, because you know if you have like a stock scanner, there's like 16,000 stocks that are like doing volume. It's like, dude, what?
Which one do I look
It's
at?
like 16,000.
Yeah.
It's like, one, I don't have that much money to put in all of them, and two, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you even start? And
So you start to focus on longing.
Yeah, I
Or were
started
you always longing.
Yeah. So I started focusing on longing. I hadn't taken a short trade until about maybe like 2 years or a year and a half into my journey. So I found Roland, and then that's kind of what started everything for me, because I would say,
What was
like,
your niche whenever you found that?
I would say my niche, so at the time, like the specific patterns that I was like, wow, like this could be something that I could do.
Right.
At the time, and it's unfortunately a dead pattern as far as I know now, but it was called like a reverse split pump, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. I'm sure you had people on here talking about it. But it was pretty much like just buying a low float stock that needs to raise their price to
$1.
to $1.
Being delisted. And,
yeah, they have to stay listed.
Yep.
So it was like, I thought that was really cool, because it wasn't really it wasn't a breakout or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of found a little bit of consistency in that, but of course, like when everyone starts finding out about something, it stops working. So it was like, I only had a couple of those, and then it was like back to square one again. But he just really helped me find out which stocks that you could have some sort of an edge on, and just not really like, I didn't really learn like one specific pattern from him, but I would say the niche was just understanding that there's an edge to be made in certain scenarios. So, and that was really huge for me, because that was like one of those light bulb moments where I was like, I had like my first green month in January 2019.
Yes, man.
Dude, it was like $150.
Yes,
I was like,
bro.
let's go.
Yes.
I was like, we're good.
Yes, man. 'Cause what were you risking at that time?
Oh, dude, like I think my biggest loss was maybe like $100 at the
Okay,
time.
so
like that was a big loss for me. And I had like maybe like a 3K account at the time, probably not even. And
but that's what I'm talking about, like the process. Like you got there.
Yeah.
And then what happens next?
So, dude, like that happens, and then you start feeling like, oh, like, this could be something. Like this
right?
is
you start believing more.
Yeah, it's like you go up one of the steps. That's like the long staircase that we're all walking on right now. It's like now I'm on the second step out of like 5,000.
Yeah.
But so it was just like good to feel that, and I remember like when I made my first $100 trade.
Yes, bro.
Dude. It was just unreal. It was like euphoric. I was like, oh my God, I did it.
Yes, man.
So that's kind of when that happened, and like what that got me doing is starting to narrow my focus into one area.
Yep.
And I still didn't have it yet. I still didn't have what I was looking for, but I was like, okay, like I'm going down the right path. So I understood still that like this isn't it. Like I can't just do whatever I'm doing forever and think that it's gonna work.
Why did you believe that?
It was just like, I had heard about so many people, like about the patterns stopping to work and the cycles. The cycles is like what it is, a simple answer to that question, because like the entire market.
Just come and go.
It just comes and goes. You don't know when, you don't know how, but it does. And you, like just feeling that is like really huge. And that's kind of why I had that mindset, because I could see them like stopping to work, and like, then I was like back to losing all the time, and I was like, oh man, like, got to do something else next. So that's kind of like why I thought like that way at the time. And go ahead.
So whenever you started to find your success, right? Did you start to sense it pretty quickly, or like because you said that like how you traded kind of came and went, right?
Yeah.
Did you end up changing how you traded to where you're trading all the time now, or is it still that way? Is it more of like a cycle, like you wait for the right times,
like now my current trading?
Yeah.
I try to, yes, and I'm still kind of experiencing it, because as you go, it's like, I think I was telling somebody this, a few days ago. I was like, as we go along, like people who are starting and people who are, 7-figure plus traders, we're all going through the same problems. It's all the same, just on very different scales and levels.
Right.
Because like, maybe somebody like me when I was 18 starting, I was like, okay, well, how do I find out what works? But then these guys who, have been doing it for, 5, 10, 20 years, like they understand what works, but they're like, how does it work for me? So it's essentially the same thing, just on a completely different level. So that was like, just realizing that and feeling that is pretty huge for sure.
Explain that a little more, like how it works for me, because that's something that's very important, because you even said that you learned a lot from Roland to help you get on the right mindset and trade and think differently and view trading differently.
Yeah.
Right? But yet you don't trade like him.
Right.
And so people are going to hear this who are not consistent and they don't understand that whole idea of like, make it work for me. So can you explain that? Because people are they're quick to just learn the strategy and like, if it doesn't work this way, then I'm not going to be successful.
Yeah. And honestly, like so when you asked me like what was next after I found that was my problem. It was that exactly. I was like, what's my thing? Like, like I understand that everybody in like the Sykes and honestly like all of the successful retail traders, we all for the most part trade the same stuff. Like, but for some reason, there's some guys who do really bad at certain times. There's some guys who do really good at certain times. So that's like, and that means that they found out what has worked for them, because it's okay to not do good all the time. It's usually what happens. So I would say like how to find that out, because that was my question. Like, I'd ask Roland, and I got to know Huddy, Jack, and Dom.
Right.
4 very different people. But
totally different traders.
Totally different. So I was like, what can I take from all of these guys and what works for me? And just the simplest answer to that is you just got to try stuff. You just have to try stuff, and you have to keep your risk small. That's why you start small. Yes. That's why you bleed out accounts, right?
Yes.
And it's okay to do that. There's a lot of guys who have been trading for 5, 10 years that literally bleed out their accounts.
Yep.
And it happens. So you can't feel that way,
I love that you said that you got to give yourself permission to try new things. Just
you have
try
to.
Things, right? And try them small. Because what I've noticed when I did that, and I don't know if you agree with this, but like I noticed that you find yourself gravitating to certain things. And it's because there's something you recognize that you notice. And that right there is your niche. Yeah. Because like you know how to trade that. Mm-hmm. Whereas like I could talk to Roland all day and he'd be like, I love this, blah, 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 fake gap down, reverse shoot up to the sky. I'm like, well, I don't freaking like that at all. Like
Me
so like
neither.
but that's his like he loves that.
Yeah.
And I think what you just explained, I think traders need to understand, like for me it was the same way. Like you need to just give yourself permission to try everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And then track it all though.
That was what I was going to say next.
Right?
Yep.
Track it all.
You got to track it all. And I'm not talking like just track the pattern performance. You need to track your performance. Because theoretically, there's thousands of patterns and every pattern works. Right. But why do they say stick to 1, stick to 2, stick to 3? It's because we're people, we're not all just like gray, we're different. Our minds are different. We're wired different. We grew up in different situations. So you have to, and that's all trading is. When you see like the framework, and if anyone doesn't know that, it's just pretty much a stock that does a euphoric move to the upside and comes all the way back down. Yep. All that is human emotion. That's what the whole thing is. That's why the stock market is the way it is. And that's why like you have to just try a bunch of things. Because I was like that too with Roland, like the gap and crap reversal. Yeah. I was like, dude, I lose every time.
Like you keep trying to do it. It's like, stop it.
Yeah,
like it doesn't work for you,
and
bro.
It's not just that one. It's a lot of them,
Yeah.
But I only know that because I tried it, because I lost on it, and I was like, I just can't do this. It's not for me. Yeah. And then that's where they say disciplined traders are the ones who are going to stay around. And that's where that comes in, is because if you know you're not good at something, like why would you do it? And it's kind of just like, and it can be a good pattern for you, right? Maybe this is your A+.
Right.
But I have no idea. And that doesn't mean that I should do it just because you're doing it. So that's where the discipline comes in, because you have to see other people doing well when you're either doing nothing or you're doing really bad. You need to be able to see that, and you need to be able to step back and say, I need to do nothing. Like that, because that's what those guys do when you're doing well. So it's like, why would you not do that?
It's because when you're new, you're thinking, you have the impression that I should do well every single day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And talk about that. I mean, because is that life for you? Like every single day it's just easy.
No, it's
just green all the freaking time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I wish it were, but it's quite the opposite. So yeah, it's not like that at all. Like no matter, and it's not just the noobs. It's not just me. It's not just the 7-figure trader. Just everybody. Like that goes back to they're dealing with the same stuff we're dealing with. Like it's just not that way. Like there's a very specific window of time where I do well versus somebody else. And, it's common saying that, like, most of traders, 80% of their income for the year comes from only a few trades. And that's really how it is. But we do this because it's a job,
Yep.
and we want a payday every day. We want to be able to cash the checks at the end of the month, right?
Right.
And
because you're just sitting there, brother.
because you're just sitting there. Because then it's like you wake up, you're all tired, you're ready to go.
You play trades and you lose money.
Yeah, you lose, dude. And like honestly, like what that is if you think of it like a job, it's like you're going up, you're clocking in on time, you're staying over, and then you pay the boss.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like you just really cannot think about it like that because you're gonna lose it, man. You're just gonna drive yourself crazy. So you just have. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, just understand that you just have to be okay with losing, and you just have to be understanding that there's, like, your time will come. It's gonna come. It always comes, even if it doesn't feel like it will.
What helped you with that, though? What helped you with taking losses and growing through it instead of looking at it negative and not being able to grow?
Yeah, that's a big thing, because I think, especially this recent market, a lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people don't have that anymore. They bled it out over the, last 6 months, 12 months, whatever it was. A lot of people don't anymore, and that's usually how it goes. That's why, going back to the human emotions, that's why it is the way it is. People come and go. They'll always come and go. And then you have to ask yourself, like, well, how am I going to be one of the ones that stays? And that's kind of what helped me get through that is, I had been, this past couple of years was the first time that I was able to capitalize on, like, a hot market, because I had messed up on it so many times in the past. And when I was learning, I was always told, like, people would just say, a lot of people are gonna, you're not gonna hear from a lot of people anymore after this market, after this market, this market.
Yes.
And it's true.
And it's so true.
It's so true. So knowing that going into where I do feel like I know what I'm doing and I feel like I'm making money every day, every week, every month.
Yep.
You have to be able to just not be okay with that, which is very difficult. And that's why a lot of people are out of the game, because when you're so accustomed to feeling one way, like how we were just really blessed with that, adapting, that's where adapting comes in. That's why I say adapt, like adapt or perish, like that's what it is.
It's like also adapt your expectations, adapt your mentality.
Yeah, everything.
Not just adapt to the stock market, like adapt how you're thinking about it.
Everything. Yeah, like adapt your mindset, like even adapt the things you're doing outside of trading. Like you can't be forcing yourself just to sit there all day, because if you do that, like at least for me, like I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna see it.
I'm gonna see something that's not there.
Yep.
I'm just gonna force myself to do something. So you just have to really adapt your entire lifestyle if you're as invested in it as the guys who do it for a living are.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, man. Like you said, that you kind of like put yourself into trading completely at some point in your life, and you went to conferences, events.
Yeah.
And I met you at one of these events.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're literally doing that. And you're you want to surround yourself with traders, because the biggest thing is people are like, well, I can't find people that are like-minded. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
But then do something about that, right?
Yeah.
Connect with other people, which is what you did. And I think that's helped you grow
100%.
To where you are.
100%.
But let me ask you this, man. What has been your Achilles heel? Like something that was either kept you back from consistency, or something that you still deal with to this day, that if you can eliminate or improve on, it can help you grow even more.
Yeah, and that, I'll say, like my current one that I think is my biggest problem.
Yes.
Because you mentioned, going to all these things and networking, putting yourself in the right group.
Right.
And that's what I did. I definitely think there's a lot of luck for me involved, but at the same time, like, you have to put yourself in those scenarios to, be presented with those opportunities. So doing that and being with these guys who are way better than me, way more experienced than me, my Achilles heel is seeing them do really well on whatever it is that they do, because I know that I trade similarly to them. So subconsciously, I'm going to think like, okay, well, if they're doing good, I should be doing good too.
Right.
And that's kind of my Achilles heel, because I'll see them pushing the size, I'll see them pushing the numbers, I'll see them pushing, their patience, everything like that. And then I start doing that to a degree that's maybe too much for me, for where I'm at currently. And I'm a big believer in you have to push yourself. And for me personally, like I would rather mess up and do poor on a really good setup with the correct size and the correct risk and just pushing myself,
right,
than being in it small and conservative and taking that gain, because I think that's what comes down to the 80% of your profits come from 10% of your trades. So, but doing that, like I see these guys pushing it on these trades, but they've done it more times than me.
Right.
So I would say my main Achilles heel is just learning that, and it's a challenge. And
like to not focus on that, like focus on yourself, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like focusing on myself is kind of what I mean by that. Like even though like they're pushing these numbers, and I feel like I should be pushing X numbers.
Right.
Like I should be pushing myself, but also not to the point where it gets out of control.
Gotcha.
And just because, and then I'll see them doing something on maybe a setup that's not really my A+.
Yeah.
And then I start pushing it because I see them pushing it, and it's not a setup that maybe I'm as familiar with. And but without even thinking, like I'll just see them, trying to exceed their expectations of themselves.
Yep.
And I think, well, I should be able to do that too, even if it's not something, that I should be doing it on.
How are you working on that?
Just going back to the basics, honestly, because right now it's not the best market we've ever seen. And if we're talking about the past 2 years, which is to be expected, from the amount of insanity we saw like last year and the year prior. So I'm just really trying to just push off the gas, or push on the brakes when I need to, and then really push on the gas when I need to as well. So going back in 2019 when I found what was good for me, and I started building on that, I just went back to my 1 to 3 setups that I know that I'm comfortable on, that I know that I can push myself on, and only doing those and just trying to not let anyone stray me from those things, even though they don't mean to. But it's me who's making myself stray those things.
True that.
But I'm just trying to listen to everybody and also just stay in my own lane. Just the simplest way to put it, just staying in my own lane and building upon what I've already built on.
I love that you brought that up because I went through this and I actually did a fasting of trading. I think we met when I did my fasting of trading.
Yeah.
Because I kept comparing myself. I would compare. Like I would compare myself to one of my good friends who's been trading for 30 years. So like, I'm over here comparing myself to him. Yeah. Great trader. And instead of staying in my own lane, understanding that I should be happy where I'm at with my consistency, I was like, I should be here. And so like, I love that you shared that because I'm sure there's other people who are maybe going through that and they are good at what they do. Yeah. But they find themselves maybe cheating on their own patterns because they see that this pattern looks better today and mine's not. So like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stay loyal, stay loyal.
Yeah, it's like, but this pattern, isn't gonna cook me dinner later. You know what I'm saying?
right. I'm not gonna make money.
It's like, this is a good one, you know? So it's the same thing,
One thing I wanted to say though, is if you could go back, man, and give yourself any advice, like to help you get here faster, help you overcome something, what would you tell yourself?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would say, just to narrow it down to a couple things, is just getting with the right people and just really committing to it. Because I think I did commit to it pretty early on. Yeah. But for a while, there was a couple years where I was like, oh, I don't know, like, I wasn't like super confident in myself. Yeah. And I didn't really learn the right things like, right away, which most people don't. And that's totally cool. But just telling myself, looking back, is just like always trusting yourself. And because there's a lot of times where I don't get confident, and I experience drawdowns, I take losses, and I just would love to tell myself, like it's okay if those things happen, because when you first deal with them, where it's an amount of money that emotionally affects you, it's one of the hardest things to overcome. And I would say right now, like, has been the past 6 months and up to this point have probably been the most troublesome for me in my trading journey, just because it's new things, it's pressure now, it's stress, it's all these other things. And if I could just tell myself, like, just understand that you're gonna go through these things, like understand that these guys went through these things, understand that they still go through these things. And because when you look at these guys, on Twitter, on YouTube, or whatever it is, and you're seeing they're just killing these moves, just know that they are going through the same thing that you are when they're not killing those moves.
Right.
And I didn't understand that for a long time. And I really would get hard on myself and get down on myself when maybe I wasn't doing as good as I wanted to, or if I was losing or giving back my gains or whatever it may be. Just telling myself that like it's going to be hard and you're going to be able to make it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, look, I love that piece of advice because I know it's going to help a lot of people out there, and they're probably going to have questions.
Yeah, I
so,
hope so.
Where can they find you, or are you anywhere on social media?
Yeah. So I'm probably most active on Instagram, and I have a Twitter as well.
Okay.
I don't have any of my own content out, but you know, maybe if I get to a point where I feel like that could be beneficial for other people,
sure.
You know, or if people want me to do that, or if they have some sort of questions, maybe I could do like some sort of Q&A thing. But it's literally just on all my social media. It's just my first and last name. It's just Ben Holiday. It's my last name's HOLIDA. Super weird. You know, it is what it is. But
we'll have that on the link below.
Yeah.
And again, Ben, hey man, I appreciate you sharing your story,
Hey,
and I wish you so much on your future success, brother.
Thank man, you as well.
Thanks, man.